Okay, we're here live with Eric Horst, Millersville University meteorologist. Thanks for joining us, Eric. We're going to talk a little bit about the impending or possible impending snowstorm coming Saturday. But first, let's recap the snow that we woke up to this morning in Lancaster County. Can you just give me an idea of how much we got throughout the county?
Yeah, I mean, it really varied quite a bit across the county. I mean, I think the center part of the county where most people seem to live around the city, about 2.5 inches. That was our official measurement here at Millersville, and I got numerous reports of 2.5 over into Leola and New Holland. As you go north and west towards Elizabethtown and Hershey, only about an inch, even less in some spots. You head to the south, really depending where you're at. Quarryville had close to 3, but over towards Holtwood, only about an inch. So anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3 in a few spots.
Yeah, so not too bad out there, but there were a couple of 2-hour delays throughout some schools in the county.
Sure, yeah, not surprising.
Now we can move on to the impending or possible impending snowstorm Saturday. Can you give us a sense of what we're looking at?
Yeah, well, it's a nice storm. I was just remarking to one of the meteorology professors here, it's a great setup for a snowstorm. The thing is, the heaviest snow is going to fall from the mountains of Georgia into North Carolina. And so with a storm track that far south, that puts Lancaster and Pennsylvania, for that matter, on the northwest side of the storm. And there is a sense that it's trying to trend a little farther northward. I think if I was in Philadelphia, I'd be thinking maybe a coating to an inch or two. Here in Lancaster, it could be one of these situations where tomorrow morning you look at the radar and there's snow on the radar over our heads. In other words, it's snowing. Snow is being generated in the clouds up at, say, 10 to 15,000 feet. But the air is so cold and dry at the surface that the snow is evaporating before it reaches the surface. And therefore, you're looking at the radar, it says it's snowing, but you look out the window and it's not snowing. And so when you're on those kind of edges like that, it's a tough call. If the storm shifts a little farther north or west, then maybe we could get an inch or two. But I think that's only like a 20% chance. Maybe getting a coating early tomorrow, maybe that's more like a 40% chance. But if you want heavy snow, you have to head pretty far to the south. I think, let's say Ocean City, Maryland, for instance, probably 3 to 6 inches there. And even heavier snow as you head farther south.
Okay, how about a time frame? Are we looking at this overnight, waking up to it in the morning, or throughout the day?
The window of opportunity, if we get any snow on Saturday, is 4 a.m. until noontime. And again, I'm pretty certain you're going to see some snow on the radar at that time over our head. It's just a question of whether it gets to the ground. I think we'll probably see some flurries, especially viewers or readers of your paper down in the Quarryville area. The farther south you are, the more likely you're to see a little bit of light snow tomorrow morning. But I'll tell you, the bigger story is it's going to be cold this weekend. We're not going to get above freezing again until maybe Tuesday afternoon or so. So we got a long stretch of below freezing conditions on the way.
Sounds like typical farm show weather, which I was going to ask you about travel impact for anyone heading to that region in the mid-state there. Is there going to be any issue with that? I guess maybe you said people coming from the east, closer to Philadelphia.
Yeah, right. Anybody coming from New Jersey or Maryland, Eastern Maryland, Virginia, they're going to have some snow tomorrow morning. Now the farm show lasts all next week, correct?
Correct. Yep, it just starts this weekend.
I think our next kind of weather concern would be, there may be a stray snow shower on Sunday with a secondary cold front that moves through, but the next threat of a more significant storm is Tuesday into Wednesday as warm air comes back into the region, and therefore it's going to be a good setup for us to see a little bit of ice changing to plain rain.
Okay, well, and you mentioned that cold stretch that we're going to be dealing with coming up here. Let's get into that a little bit. We're just looking at extended cold throughout all of next week?
No, only through Tuesday morning, and then the warm air comes racing in. So I think high temperatures today, we're going to struggle to get to around 30 degrees. I think tomorrow we're about 26 for a high temperature. Sunday, maybe only 24 for a high temperature. And so Sunday's the coldest day. Wind chills in the teens. Overnight lows could be down around 8 or 10 degrees. And then we start a slow up climb. On Monday, we're probably back to around 30 degrees. And then that storm comes in here next Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's going to cut to our west, which that puts us on the warm side of the storm. And as that warm air overruns the retreating Arctic air, that's the setup, as I mentioned earlier, that can give us a little bit of freezing rain at some point on Tuesday, but ultimately I think it goes over to plain rain. And get this, Wednesday, I think we're into the upper 40s next week, and we have a good shot at hitting 50 next Thursday or Friday. So, today it looks, it looks very winter-like outside with the snow and the cool temperatures, but a week from now, it could be near 50 degrees. So that's kind of been the nature of this winter, is that roller coaster ride.
Right, and I'm sure we'll continue on that, as that's been the trend lately. Eric, we'll keep a close eye on this storm, and thanks again for joining us. Again, it's Eric Horst, a Millersville University meteorologist, joining LNP and Lancaster Online. Stick with us for the latest. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.